Ladies and gentlemen, in Tampa Bay, it must be Saturday morning at 8 a.m. because we are on the air. It is time to go low right here with your host, Jeff Stanislow from Golfers Unite. And it is time for the Caddie Corner with Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's former caddy, where we talk about all this great and wonderful stuff that's going on in the world of golf. Thanks for joining us one time again, Mike.
Yeah, good to be here, Jeff.
So we just came off of the John Deere Classic, Mike, and it was an interesting finish. I would think that the purest of golfers and the golf fans might not have been as dialed in for the John Deere Classic. We got the World Cup soccer going on, and all of a sudden when you're looking up at a leaderboard that you might not recognize all the people, and you look at Max Homa, Glover, and Hodges, and these names, and this young Kohles. It's just like the people that you're not used to seeing up on the leaderboard if you're dialed in. And I think that's part of the problem that golf is going to have in regards to their changes for 2028 with the Challenger and Championship Series. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on the John Deere? Now, you were there and you've played it, and let's just talk a little bit about the John Deere. And it's the second oldest, I think, named golf tournament in the PGA Tour. So,
yeah, I mean the golf course, pretty good golf course. It's always seems to be really soft, so that's why they shoot so low. It's always around 20 under. The year we won it, I think I won it with Jonathan Bird in 07. I think we shot 18 under, something like that. But then the college kids go there. They have the NAIA championship there now. Obviously, a lot different level of golf. But of course, when they're there, it's always seems to be firmer, faster. So the scoring, obviously, a lot different. It's a pretty long golf course.
Yeah, I think they said it was like 7,300 yards.
Yeah,
or something.
It is a long golf course. So, but there again, I mean, they're pretty much throwing darts there. Usually the greens are so soft. So, and it was typical. I watched a little of it yesterday. And I was watching it in my pro shop with a kid that I'm giving lessons to, and you see Goddard's on fire, and I think he was on 14 or 15, and I said if he posts 20 or 21, he'll win, just because of the names that were up there. Now Lucas had it yesterday, he probably would have won the tournament because he can handle it, but he just didn't have it yesterday. And I saw that he was over par, and he was back to 17 under or something, and I was like, well, Lucas doesn't have it. The rest of these guys, I mean, Ben Kohles, as much as I was pulling for him, had my doubts, and it turned out to be right. Goddard posted, and those guys that were up there couldn't catch him.
Yeah, this is Jeff Stanislow, your host of Let's Go Low, right here on AM 820 in Tampa. It's brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. Our special guest, as always, on the Caddie's Corner, our opening segment, is Mike Hicks from Mike Hicks Golf. If you want to check out Mike Hicks, he is available for speaking, coaching, training. If you got a specialty tournament coming up, or you want Mike on your bag for some type of special event, check out Mike at MikeHicksGolf.com. Back to the this weekend's John Deere Classic, and just here's a tournament that I think is going to be one of those that kind of struggle with the new format. Whether it's going to be a championship event, which I don't think it is probably going to be a challenger event. And then you look at from the John Deere's corporate side, it's like, hey, listen, we're like the second longest running sponsored PGA Tour event. We've been there for you for thick and thin. We're an American Heartland brand. And, I'm just curious what your thoughts, my thoughts as a marketing person is that, hopefully they become a champion series one, because I love the brand. But I think the course in itself and what the scores that they get, I think that limits them to the Challenger Series. What are your thoughts, Mike?
I think it'll all depend on, it's a scheduling thing. You're limited as far as weather up there, times of the year when you could go. It's hard to say. I mean, like you said, John Deere's been a great sponsor and been a great supporter of professional golf for a long time. You'd like to think that the tour would take that into consideration, when they do start naming these tournaments. Who knows? I mean, I have no idea what they'll do, but they certainly are deserving. And the golf course, it's a good golf course. I mean, it's a real good golf course. Logistically, it's not the greatest place, Moline, Illinois. It's,
Not as easy to get to.
Yeah, it's not that easy to get there for sure. But who knows? We'll see. I mean, they certainly are deserving of one of the, what is the first tier called? Champions.
It's the championship and then the challengers. The
championship. So they are deserving of that. But who knows? Who knows what the tour is going to do? I mean, and who knows if John Deere's going to pony up $20 million, right? I mean,
yeah, and I think that's kind of
obviously they're not going to pony up that much money. I mean, I don't think any of these sponsors are going to pony up the whole 20 mil. I mean, that's going to be subsidized by the tour some way. That's what they've always.
That's a big ask, and I think that's what's going to happen is, there's going to be corporations that are just going to buy these tournaments, right? You're going to see a lot of changeover. If you look at John Deere, if I'm the VP of marketing or in charge of that, I'm like, on one hand, you have the history, the legacy, the supporting, and on the other hand, you have this brand, John Deere, how much does it really need golf per se? Now they sell the golf equipment and stuff like that, so I'm pretty sure they're going to stay around. But at the end of the day, I think it's just going to be who's going to be writing the biggest checks to kind of own these championship series.
Exactly what's going to happen. The people that pony up the most are going to get the higher end tournaments. So it'll be interesting to see who falls in line with that. And like I said, you got the TV deal coming up. They got to re-sign that. And I think they're pretty worried, from what I understand, about what that's going to look like, because the TV people got kind of hosed in the last deal. So I think there's going to be a little retribution coming up with this next deal.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many different types of media outlets now too. So I think there's more leverage and there's more, capabilities. Like I watch a lot of the golf events on the PGA Tour's app. It is very, very good. You can see the shots. You can look up your player. You can see what they did on holes. You can follow each individual shot. It's really technically sophisticated, app. We're talking with Mike Hicks. Mike Hicks, Payne Stewart's former caddy. And this is the Caddie Corner on Let's Go Low right here on AM 820 every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. This is Jeff Stanislow, your host, and this is brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. If you guys want to check out our new deal board, we're launching a brand new website this week. So you guys will be able to check it out, golfersunite.com, and we're going to have a new special deal board that's up for everybody to look at the deals that we curate for you. Mike, pivoting back to the John Deere and Ben Kohles. So he's on 18 and he's got to make par to catch Goddard up and force a play up. So he is there and hits a great drive. He's got, I don't know, like a 9-iron or a wedge in his hand. And he just shorted his swing and pulled it and yanked it left with a draw, hit the hit the side of the hill and bounced in the water. And then, from there, tried to make the putt, left it, I don't know, about 4 feet. And then he missed the other putt. So he ended up making double bogey. I mean, you've been there with the players and, what have you in that situation where, they're, if he makes birdie, he wins. If he makes par, he pushes. But it just looked like he was just a dead pull. It was, it wasn't like I'm going at the pin type thing. What goes through the players' minds in that situation? And then to miss the 4-footer, to take second and they drop down to third place. What goes through your players' mind when they're up there? Is it just they're just pissed or upset? And so talk to us a little bit about that.
In his defense, excuse me, that's a very difficult pit position. His back left. I'm sure it's where it always is, and it's a tough fit for any club. So if you it's in sort of a little nook back there, and if you can hit a shot pin high, the perfect yardage to the pin, but if you miss a little right, it's going in a bunker. You're going to miss the green, and then it's an impossible up and down, pretty much. So you've kind of, if that shot, you've pretty much got to unless you want a 40-footer, which is a real tough 2-putt, you got to kind of take that flag on. If he's got a short club in his hand, I'm sure he had to take the shot on, but it's a very difficult shot, even though it's a wedge or a 9-iron. I didn't see the shot, but I guess he might have been trying to take something off of a 9-iron, and when you do that, your tendency is your body slows down, the arms take over, and you pull it. So I'm assuming that's probably what happened.
That's key right there. Even for our listeners, Mike,
yeah.
that tip that you just gave for our listeners is very valuable. Hey, if you're a lot of times, if you're an amateur golfer and you're trying to hit something, I guess, safe and not taking a good swing at it, always keep in mind, if you're not taking that full swing and you slow your bodies down and your arms stay the same speed, it goes left. So just tuck that one away. That's a good tip, Mike.
Yeah. If you're going to if you're taking something off of an iron, you got to keep your body speed up. Obviously there's different ways to hit that shot. You do it with speed, or you do it by choking up on the club. The old guys used to choke up on the club and then just go ahead and swing at it. That's how I play the shots. But anyway, I watched some of it yesterday, and Ben was swinging so good. I mean, it's the best I've ever seen him swing the golf club, and he's been on a bit of a roll lately. Won the Corn Ferry event in South Carolina. He qualified for the U.S. Open, made the cut there. So he had his game has been headed in the right direction. I could see why after watching him swing at it yesterday, swinging beautifully. So hated that for him. He's been knocking on the door of having success on the tour for a long time. And hopefully he'll just pick himself up, and that was a big short putt he missed. That was probably a $300,000 putt he missed.
Yeah.
Tied for second, and tied for, well, in that case it would have been fourth. As it turns out, tied for third. There was it was probably a $300,000 putt that he missed. And you hate that. You hate that for him. It's a lot of money for him and his caddy.
The analysts were saying, this is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to Let's Go Low right here on AM 820 every Saturday morning on the Big 8 with our special guest, Mike Hicks from MikeHicksGolf.com. Mike was Payne Stewart's former caddy, 35 years plus on the tour. Pleasure to have him here. If you guys are interested in talking with Mike, or maybe you have a VIP event or a pro-am and you want him to come on your bag, speak at an event or what have you, go to MikeHicksGolf.com. And as always, check out Golfers Unite. GolfersUnite.com is the sponsor of this event and this show. So we appreciate you doing that there. Mike, you mentioned that $300,000 putt. I'd imagine most amateurs can't, really go through it. But in quickly here, we got 30 seconds or so. What is the number one thought that you put through your players, or when you're playing yourself? When you're in that situation, you got to make a clutch shot. Just one quick swing thought.
Just you got to totally commit, and you also got to remember, if you're in a pressure situation, it's you're better off going ahead and swinging at something than trying to take something off of an iron. So, I don't know what the situation was yesterday with Ben. I have no idea.
Right.
If it was a yardage, I don't know anything about it. I didn't watch the shot. So,
okay. All right, guys, we're going to tune back in. Mike's going to join us for another episode here on Let's Go Low. This is Jeff Stanislow. Thank you, Tampa, for listening in.